Hello and welcome back to Expedition Homestead. I hope you are having a fantastic day. In today's video, we are starting out our vegetable seeds for the 2022 growing season. So we're going to be going through all of the steps that I take to get my vegetable seeds started. It's going to be a blast and we have a ton of seeds to get started. So let's get to it. First thing we'll talk about is supplies to get started. You're going to want a hex seed starting kit or any sort of container like this to start your seeds. I have made a video in the past of using the peat moss planter. I think I'm kind of leaning away from that and more towards the plastic because you have less issues with mold when using the plastic, and of course these are reusable. You can reuse them for multiple years. You need your seeds, obviously. We just picked up about $140, $120 worth of seeds from MI Gardener and a couple of other various areas for this growing season. And then you're going to need dirt. In our case, we just had this laying around the house. It's a plain old Miracle Grow potting mix. I'm no advocate of Miracle Grow, but we had it here. So since we have it, might as well use it. But what you do need to keep in mind is that you're going to want an indoor growing mix. You don't really want to have an outdoor potting mix or an outdoor raised gardening bed mix because you're, again, more apt to grow mold with these mixes compared to an indoor mix. Now, why am I using an indoor mix as opposed to a seed starting mix? The reason why is an indoor mix is going to give me some extra nutrients to give my seeds and seedlings and transplants a little bit of an extra boost that we definitely need during this time period of their growth cycle. So an indoor mix is going to help you give a little bit of a boost without having to do any extra work. All right, so let's get to filling this thing up. I've found the easiest way to do this is to take a plastic tub of some sort and just place our seed starting kit down into it. And then we're just going to dump soil over the entire thing, spreading it out evenly and making sure that we fill all of these cells. And then when I fill them up with soil, something else I'll do is I'll slightly tamp it down with my fingertips just so I get a little bit of compression in the soil. After filling the containers with soil, we're going to cut out a little corner here. All this is going to achieve is basically it provides us a port where we can water. I prefer to bottom water essentially instead of top watering because then I'm not spraying soil all over the plants when I water them. Because sometimes if you splash the soil onto the foliage of the plant, that can spread diseases and ultimately cause to the death of your seedlings. So what I do is cut this little corner out, and we will talk a little bit more about the watering process later in the video. The next step is going to be placing the seeds into our seed starting trays. But before we do this, we're also going to need some more material. Grab a pen, a pencil, a notepad, and a piece of tape. Duct tape or some sort of thing that you can write on is fine. That's all you need. We just need to be able to identify these trays if your tray doesn't already come with arrows or anything like this. Sometimes, like in this case, there will be an arrow right here pointing to one side, and I'm always going to just remember that that arrow is going to the right side. But either way, we do want to identify which tray this is. So what I'm labeling this is going to be L1, and I'm going to stick it over in the left-hand corner of this planting tray. And now in my notepad, I have a table for L1, and I'm going to list all of the rows in L1, and that's going to tell me what seeds are in those rows. So the first row is going to be all homestead tomato. Then I'm going to do my other tomatoes. just marking down each row as I go along. I found this is a great way to keep organized and save time in the garden when starting seedlings. If you're not sure when to start your seeds, you can always refer to the back of the packet or go online to the Farmer's Almanac to find the planting calendar. That is a great resource to use as well, because some seeds shouldn't even be started indoors at all. Some seeds should be started indoors 8 to 10 weeks before your last expected frost, and some seeds should only be started indoors about 2, maybe 4 weeks before the last frost date. That's why it's going to be important to make sure you know when to start your specific varieties of seeds. Because of course we all know if we fail to plan, then, well, we plan to fail. So next all I'm going to do is, with our handy dandy pencil, I will go through and put tiny little holes in the soil here, just like that. Generally, each seed is going to be about 1/4 inch beneath the soil. Now, if you have larger seeds like squash or pumpkin, even sunflower seeds, those will be planted deeper. A nice rule of thumb is about 2 times the diameter of the seed. So a sunflower seed is a little bit bigger. We're going to go about 1/2 inch to 1 inch beneath the soil, where these tomato seeds are just about 1/8 inch. So we're going to go 1/4 inch into the soil, just dropping 1 seed into each cell. If you have a couple of seeds that fall in, don't worry. That's going to provide us with another opportunity in case one seed doesn't grow. And then you can also just cut out the weakest seedlings as time goes along. Once you've got your seeds in there, we're then going to kind of close up the hole that we put them into, slightly tamping down the soil around them. All right, row 2 is also planted, and that is Rutger's tomato, one of my favorite from last year. So we planned on growing them again. And then we continue on until we fill this entire tray with our seeds. Now on to watering. As we showed you earlier in the video, we cut out this section of the seed starting tray in order to get access to it so we could water it. Now, why do I water this way? Well, that way I don't have any splash up. I minimize the spread of disease to my plants, therefore increasing my likelihood of success when growing these seedlings. So what I will do is take my watering container, and I will typically put about 1/2 inch of water in the bottom, sometimes a little bit less. Since this is the very first watering, 1/2 inch is definitely going to be soaked up right away. But after I've watered this, I will check on it in about an hour. And if there's still water sitting in the bottom of this, again, we have access to it so we can see if there's sitting water or not. If there is, I will try and dump that water out. And if there's no water down there, then you are sitting good. A good thing to look at when wondering if your seedlings need more water or not is the weight of this container. After you've watered it, let it sit for a few hours and then just pick it up and you'll see how heavy it is. But wait 5 to 7 days and you'll see it's a lot lighter. And then the soil will go from a darker color to a much, much lighter brown. Those are going to be signs that we want to water our seedlings again. When germinating seeds and growing seedlings, it is important that they keep moist at just about all times. We don't want the soil to dry out. Now we'll talk about lighting real quick. When starting my seeds, I don't really put light on them until they've started to germinate, and then I will put them under grow lights. I have all sorts of grow lights that I use. Generally, these are ranging in price from about $75 to $150. And wattage is going to be anywhere from 600 watts to 1,000 watts. 300 watt will do fine too, unless you're trying to grow some larger seedlings like tomatoes. But the grow lights, I've got all sorts of videos on the YouTube channel as well, so you can check those out. But basically, any grow light that you find, a newer one will be better. Try and find an LED grow light that's 300 watts to 1,000 watts. 1,000's pushing it, so you're going to want a dimmer. But find that and a full spectrum, and that's what you'll need. There's all sorts of incredible videos that I've posted on how to germinate and how to grow vegetable seeds in the past. I have a playlist on the channel. I will link it down below. This is everything that we're going to cover in today's video. We're going to have more progress updates, more how-to videos, all sorts of stuff on everything that we do this growing season. It's going to be incredible. I want to thank you so much for tuning into the channel. I hope you're having a great gardening adventure this year so far. Comment down below if you've got any questions or stories that you would like to share with the gardening community. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.